So there is a new gaming phenomenon that has taken over the industry at this point, and it's Black Myth Wukong, the PlayStation 5 and PC game from Game Science out in China. And this game is breaking records left and right and doing some impossible things that I never thought would happen with a game like this. Let's just be honest here, guys. Black Myth Wukong had a lot of hype heading into the launch, but with the size of China and people loving the Soul style type of gameplay along with action RPG, the game developers were very clear that it's not completely a Souls game. I think that it is blown up into something that nobody can even control at this point, not even Game Science. Looking down the stats, it's almost staggering to see exactly what is happening. I know I didn't predict this. Many people felt that it's going to be good, but we've got apparently sales numbers that are coming out that just blow away many other big titles that recently released on the PlayStation 5 that had probably a bit more hype, name to it when it comes to brand name, and so much more going for it. So we're going to talk about that and some of the impossible things that it's doing in just a bit. But before we get into that, what's good everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you are someone new, and click that notification bell to get my RPG videos first. And let's go ahead and jump right into this with Black Myth Wukong, a mania that is running through the gaming industry at this point. So right now we know that there is a record. Black Myth Wukong set a Steam one with 2.215 million players peak so far. I'm looking at Steam DB at this point as well, and yeah, the all-time peak actually is 2.4 million plus, and that is post-launch here a number of days. So that is pretty impressive to see that the game is continuing to do so well, having millions of people playing the game at pretty much any point. Obviously it just launched recently, but yeah, that is still very impressive for this type of game. Now clearly the fact that this is one of the major AAA games on Unreal Engine 5 coming out of China, yeah, you know China's going to be there to represent and support, but it's going even beyond China. People are playing this game all over the world. It's charting very high on the PlayStation charts in the US and in Europe, and I absolutely see this game doing good in pretty much most parts of the world. Now here's some more stats that kind of blew my mind here. When it goes to the all-time highs of Steam, Black Myth Wukong is already the second best of all time. So going from the bottom to the top, you had New World at 900,000 units plus, Banana at 917,000 units, Elden Ring, which I thought would have been higher, peaking at 953,000 players, Cyberpunk 2077 at 1 million players, Dota 2 1.2 million, Lost Ark 1.3, Counter-Strike 2 1.8, Palworld, which was a recent phenomenon as well, with 2.1, and then Black Myth Wukong right there, 2.2. But once again, all-time peak overall, it's went up a bit. This was from Forbes a little bit ago, went up to 2.4 million all-time peak, just behind, actually a bit behind, PUBG, which had an all-time peak of 3.25 million. So this is absolutely something that I don't think people saw coming at all. These numbers are crazy. If you would have said Black Myth Wukong would have a bigger launch than what we saw with games like Counter-Strike 2 or games like Elden Ring or even Cyberpunk, despite, yeah, that launching in a state, but that was hyped from CD Projekt Red, a proven developer that has made some of the biggest best-selling PC games. This is a rookie AAA game development here with Game Science out in China. Nobody predicted this level of success. So definitely happy for Game Science, but there's absolutely been a lot of things going on surrounding this game, some controversies and other things. And I kind of want to get into a little bit more of some of the aftermath of this. We're going to start with the sales of it. So it seems like PS5 console sales are doubling in the Chinese market. This was from VN Express. They had a topic about this. Now, citing some industry sources, the South China Morning Post reported that since its release on Tuesday, Black Myth Wukong has sold at least 4.5 million copies for the PlayStation 5 and PC platforms. Now, as a result of this, the data from Alibaba's Taobao and Tmall group shows that in 7 days leading up to the game's release, transaction volume for the PlayStation 5 on Sony's Tmall store increased more than 100% year on year. The PS5 also maintained the top position as the hot item for video game equipment on Tmall for 4 consecutive days during this period. Quote, "This is a big win for Sony," marked Yang Feng, a gaming hardware merchant in Shanghai. The PS5 offers the best option for those who want to try out Wukong, but can't afford to buy a 40 series NVIDIA display card for their PCs. Now, speaking on the performance and what you should get or not, Digital Foundry actually did an analysis of both versions, the PC version of the game and the PlayStation 5 version of the game. Now, before launch, there was a bit of controversy as well because GameScience did not send out review codes for a hyped big PlayStation 5 game that Sony was specifically advertising for PlayStation players. I can't remember the last time that we got that heavy of advertisement, and obviously a console exclusive for right now until GameScience gets the Xbox version sorted out. I cannot remember a time where there wasn't review codes for a game of this size, especially a big technical showcase Unreal Engine 5, and there's no game reviews for the PlayStation 5. Just want to give an update real quick as I was editing. There is one review for the PlayStation 5 version of Black Myth Wukong, and it's from Metro Game Central. They gave it a 6 out of 10, saying an ambitious but uneven action role player with impressive visuals and excellent boss battles that are held back by an inherent shallowness, particularly in the lack of meaningful exploration. So there you go. Now back to the video. Currently right now, the best selling system when it comes to monthly sales worldwide. It's the best selling for a bit now. Now that Switch is kind of on its way out and heading into the Switch 2, the fact that we got no pre-launch reviews for something as big as this when it comes to a PlayStation console exclusive for right now, and the advertisement for Black Myth Wukong definitely was a bit weird for many people out there. And I think we found out why, because there are a number of issues with the PlayStation 5 version that Digital Foundry was able to kind of look through and find out. Some of the stuff with frame generation going from 30 to 60 and using kind of weird techniques to keep the frame rate up. Plus there's also some stutters in places, doesn't hit 60 a lot. Obviously dynamic resolution, 1080p can look a little blurry at times, but adjusts itself. So there were a number of things that I think GameScience, now this is just my own personal opinion, I think GameScience did not want people knowing or people talking about before the game released. Look at the reception that's coming here. It's got an 81 average on Metacritic right now on the PC version, which, by the way, I nailed 100% on Mr. P.O.'s post, saying that I think it's going to have an 81. I felt it's going to be a little bit lower than Stellar Blade or so, but right around there, but above 80, but not right at 80. So I kind of settled on 81, and it's there right now. Who knows if it'll go up or down, if there's even going to be PS5 reviews added in later, which I do think that they should, because both the PC version and obviously the PS5 version, they're the same game, but there's definitely some issues that are unique to PC, some issues that are unique to PlayStation, and maybe there is a difference there overall in terms of how it should be rated or not. But I'm not the PC technical guy. You guys can check out Digital Foundry. They went over everything from the PC version to the PlayStation 5 version of the game. So you can go see it and see what they have to say. But overall, let's talk a little bit about my own personal experience with Black Myth Wukong. I've been playing the game. I think I've got a little bit over 2 or 3 hours. I know I'm somewhere in there. I've beaten a number of the side quest bosses, the main, obviously, beginning part, which was crazy. I beat this like wolf side quest boss. I had this big old head dude side quest boss that I beat too, or optional boss as well. Then another boss that I beat too that was pretty easy, and I'm having a blast. I think it's a good game. It's a mix of like a Souls game, and once again, I know that they say that it's not necessarily Souls game, but there's definitely Souls style of combat in there without some of the other things like losing your experience, for example. You still hold on to that and you can level up and upgrade and not have to worry about those type of things. And there's definitely some things that make it a little bit different, but absolutely it kind of falls in that same type of line, like where you're playing a Demon Souls, a Dark Souls, those type of games and everything. But it has other qualities that are like Stellar Blade, or that like some of these other action RPGs that are out there that have skill trees that go in a certain way, right? Like a Horizon Zero Dawn, or even, it doesn't play like it, but like a Bayonetta or Devil May Cry in terms of how some of the stuff work. But there were people that were trying to say, oh, it plays like Bayonetta or it plays like Devil May Cry. It doesn't. Not really. I mean, there's some things like when it comes to the action, but not really, because when it comes to those two games, you got to manipulate enemies like with air combos and things like that, and pushing them up with launchers and the stinger and all that. And it's just not the same thing. You don't do that. It's more grounded, and it's more based off of like what you would see in a Dark Souls or a Demon Souls or a Bloodborne or one of these Souls type of games. But once again, some differences. But overall, I'm really enjoying my playtime so far. I need to get further in. I'm not that many hours. I've been crafting. I got a new weapon set. There's some pretty cool things that you can do in order to power yourself up. I do like how the skill tree system works and the leveling system works. It's pretty straightforward. I think the graphics look great. There are some issues here and there. Overall, some pop-up and textures, things that aren't necessarily great on the PlayStation 5 version of the game. But overall, I think I would say that it's good. It's an impressive game. It's fun. It's made by people that are definitely focused on gameplay first. And I think that it's very interesting as their first major title here, because they usually make mobile stuff as their first major title. This is pretty good. This is a good first effort that can turn into something way bigger. And you know good and well, they're probably ecstatic about the sales here, the bosses and everybody there, because they're making tons of money at this point. And I think overall what you need is that you need a strong gaming lineup. You need people to be coming in, seeing different types of games, and having a game based off of Journey to the West, you know, one of the most popular novels ever, Chinese history and everything. It's really cool to see. I like it. I love the whole Nimbus, you know, I love the power pole, the monkey stuff. It's really cool. I think it's a very cool game to base off of, and interesting that there isn't more games that decided to do that. But hey, I'm not complaining when it comes down to it, because I think that we got a very good game so far here. Now, and I do want to mention one more thing, because there was some controversy going around with some of the comments that could potentially be seen as disrespectful when it comes to women, and some of the things that came out beforehand. And honestly, I looked into it, and I had some of my people as well look into it when it comes to some of the translations of the posts. And it's one of those things to where I'm looking at it like, you know what? I'm not sure if I know what's going on overall. So I'm just going to look at the game and say, hey, look, I'm judging the game based on me playing it. Not sure what's going on with some of the employees and all that other stuff. But overall, I'm looking at it like, hey, if you feel offended, or if there's something that you can find, obviously go out there, research it, do your part, and see how you feel. I don't think I'm here to tell anybody else how to feel about certain stuff like that. So for me, I'm kind of leaving it alone. I did talk about it on my live stream the other day. If you guys want to check that out, we did discuss it. I went through and I said, hey, I understand from certain people's point of view if all of this is true, hypothetically speaking, if all of it is true and the translations are right. I had some people reach out to me that are fluent in Chinese and look at some of the posts and say, no, there was some issues and problems with IGN's translation of their article. So right now I'm just looking at like, well, I'm going to just play the game, you know, and whatever plays out, we'll report on whatever plays out or whatever happens. But for right now, I'm just going to focus on the game and enjoy it and see what happens from there. But of course, we'll keep you guys up to date. If there's anything else that happens when it comes down to it, whether it's a live stream or whether it's a video like this, we'll definitely get into it. But for right now, I'm just playing the game and enjoying it. And of course, maybe I'll have like a follow-up, maybe review or video or something on it, just because I haven't really been able to capture too much footage. So you guys are just seeing trailers and other stuff like that. But I do feel that, yeah, it's a game that I absolutely want to play. I just wanted to kind of get more into the game so I can talk about it in a certain type of way, instead of not being able to play the game or not playing the game much and not really knowing too much about the game before I start delving into all these different aspects with it. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I think that it's pretty good. It's $60. There's no physical copy. There's obviously an Xbox copy or Xbox version coming later. I wish there was a physical copy of the game. I think that it would have been great if there was. Apparently, it's coming later down the line for the physical version of the game. So I don't know if I'm going to double dip. I already bought the game just digital. It was $60. If it was 70, I might have not even bought it, you know. But the fact that it was 60, I was like, all right, whatever. Let me just go ahead and do this. Even though it was just $10 difference, but that's kind of sometimes what it takes overall when you're looking at it. But I do think overall It's a fine game. I think it's a solid 8 out of 10. I think the Metacritic reviews are right in terms of just my own personal preference just starting out. Now, that might go up. I might put that up to a 9 or something higher than that. But right now, yeah, 8 out of 10 seems like a good score for their first kind of foray into this type of game. And yeah, if they make a sequel, and if they have it on PS5 Pro, I think that would be really cool. And they get more comfortable with UE5 and developing and doing other things. I think that this company, Game Science, this development team has a lot of potential to do bigger and better things, or just refine the heck out of what they've got to create better game experiences for gamers out there. So that's all definitely good. So what do you guys think overall when it comes to what's happening with Black Myth Wukong doing kind of the impossible here, shocking the world at this point with some of the records that it's broken and some of the games that it's beaten out when it comes to popularity? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you are someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other RPG videos and more right here on screen. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.